Hello. Before I start the video, here's a disclaimer. Forgive me for my robot voice. This is, quite literally, my first video in this fashion. I've never made any Deltarune videos before, nor anything similar. So forgive me if the quality isn't the best, or if it's a little messy. I'm mainly making this video because I want to expand on a fun theory I thought of recently. Well, and because I'm sorta obsessed with Deltarune right now. Also, take this entire theory with a grain of salt, as it's based off some assumptions about Des and Gaster. For example, it's assuming that Des is the goner, the mysterious character who talks in the code. And remember that this video will contain a lot of spoilers of Deltarune, as well as some spoilers of Undertale, so it's best if you're familiar with those games. Now, onto the theory. So, what exactly is the goner? Well, as some people may already know, there is hidden dialogue within the code of the game. Shown now on the screen, there seems to be a character seemingly lost in some dark, mysterious place. This part of the hidden dialogue can be found in Chapter 1 files. The character is clearly confused, and they call out for help. Now this is the second part of the dialogue. This is the one that can be found in Chapter 2 files. Both of the files that contain this dialogue are labeled as unused. In the second part of this, the character seems to give up hope that anyone can even hear them, wherever they are. They also mention how quiet it is in there, and yet, how sometimes, they can hear a mysterious scratching noise. All of this implies that there is, was, or will be, someone lost, somewhere, in a lonely, pitch-black place. And who else may be lost? That's right, Des, Noelle's mysterious sister. But, is she really missing, or is she just dead? Well, there isn't too much evidence for neither of the options, however, there is some evidence that points to her being missing. There is a Deltarune site, where if you go to it, you can see an image of a guitar. When you click the guitar, a song begins to play. And when you look at the code of the page, the song is called finder.og, implying that Des is missing, and is yet to be found. Of course, this could imply that her corpse hasn't been found yet, but that'd be a little dark. So that's my explanation to how Des and the goner may be the same person. That's the basis of the rest of this theory. That Des is stuck, in a dark, quiet, mysterious place. But wait. Isn't there another character who is missing? Another character who is in an unexplainable place? The man himself, Gaster. We've all heard about this guy. There must be thousands of theories about him. The mysterious royal scientist from Undertale, who has left traces of him in both Undertale, and even Deltarune. He is told to have vanished without a trace, shattering across time and space. It's as if he's everywhere at once. Deltarune, Undertale, you name it. Some even theorize that he created Deltarune, considering Entry 17's contents. Deltarune obviously has a lot of connection to darkness. Dark worlds, and the prophecy within the game that implies that if there is too much darkness from the fountains, an apocalypse will happen. Not to forget the less literal definition of darkness. How dark will the story be, story-wise? In Undertale, the genocide route is pretty dark and terrifying. But in Deltarune, in only the second chapter you can do something perhaps even darker than that. Of course, I'm talking about Snowgrave. Not only are you killing people, you're making an innocent person do it for you. Manipulating Noelle into freezing enemies, and in the end, freezing her friend as well. Of course, before more chapters are out, we can't tell for sure whether Birdley is actually dead or not. But in my opinion, this route seems to be heading in a much darker way than genocide in Undertale. Now, onto the theory. Gaster and Des, both missing, both suddenly disappeared from their worlds. I will refer to them as being in a void of sorts, an area out of the bounds of Deltarune or Undertale. But you might ask, why is it that most traces of Gaster seem to be gone, while Des is clearly remembered? It's implied that at least a few characters in Deltarune know of Des, especially Noelle, since they're siblings and all. I don't have a clear answer to this question, unfortunately, as we don't exactly know how Des went missing. Perhaps she went into the bunker. Or maybe, somehow stumbled upon the mysterious egg-giving man, who a lot of people think is Gaster. Maybe she stumbled upon a secret room, like the ones we can find in Chapter 1 and 2. What if she were to get stuck inside such room? What if the exit simply disappeared? We can only speculate, for now. What if Gaster learned of her? What if he knew that she was missing in the void, just like him? What if he knew that she had some large connection to Deltarune, that she hasn't been forgotten or erased? What if she could help him? Since Gaster is scattered across time and space, perhaps it's not very easy for him to connect to Deltarune. But maybe Des is more powerful in that specific aspect? Despite being gone from Deltarune, her existence hasn't been erased. She cannot leave the void, but what if she can manifest in Deltarune, in a way? Just like how Gaster seems to do on occasion. Gaster had likely written entry 17 before his disappearance, implying that perhaps, he knew of Deltarune before that. Maybe he was the one who begun its creation. And this creation was interrupted when he inevitably disappeared. Being scattered into a million pieces definitely doesn't help in creating an entire world, does it? Maybe he even sought out someone to help, diving into what he'd already created. To find someone connected enough to that world that they could help him finish what he'd been working on. And he did find someone. Maybe it wasn't even just Des, as both Spamton and Jevil are implied to have some connections to Gaster. Perhaps Spamton failed in what Gaster hoped to get him to do. Perhaps Spamton only cared about wealth and success, and not at all about what Gaster wanted. Or maybe he simply couldn't provide what he wanted. And when Gaster found the perfect fit, he was quick to abandon Spamton. Another mystery of Deltarune seems to be about the very beginning of your gameplay. When you create a vessel, a character, only for it to be discarded. Many believe that there are actually two different voices in this scene. The first being Gaster, as he is known for fully capitalizing his dialogue, and generally speaking in this manner. The second voice, being the non-capitalized dialogue in this scene. There are many theories about who this second voice could be. The major theory being that it's Chara from Undertale. And you can probably tell what I'm going to say next. What if it was Des instead? The second voice sounds pretty pessimistic and even rude. With the whole "no one can choose who they are in this world" line. But there sadly isn't a way to tell if that's something that Des would say. Considering we don't know that much about her personality, and how it could have changed if she really became stuck in the void. Although, what we know is that Des was pretty protective of Noelle. And sometimes defended her from Chris' antics, considering they're implied to have been somewhat of a prankster. And the last argument for this theory that I have. The secret egg room in Chapter 2. As I said earlier, in both chapters you can get an egg from a mysterious man, one egg per chapter. To get them, you must go to a specific area and join/leave the room multiple times. Eventually, after some attempts, you will be taken to the secret room instead, where you can walk behind a tree to interact with the mysterious man and obtain an egg. However, in Chapter 2, if you do the snow grave route, you are unable to enter the secret room, no matter how many times you try. But why? Assuming that Gaster is the man who gives you the eggs, why would he care about whether you did snow grave or not? Why would he care about the characters harmed in it? Answer is, he probably wouldn't. You could say that he might want the player to follow the main route instead of going off track to do evil things. But then why does snow grave exist in the first place? I say that, he created the snow grave route before he even disappeared, before Deltarune was finished. And now, even if someone were to try, it wouldn't really be possible to get rid of it. The lack of the egg room on Snow Grave could be a way for Des to communicate to you that she clearly doesn't want you traumatizing and manipulating her sister who she is so protective of. Even though Gaster is the one in those secret rooms, it doesn't have to be him who has created, opened, or made it possible for those rooms to appear in Deltarune. And, that's about it. That's all of the theories and information that I had on this subject. Again, this is my first Deltarune video ever. So I really hope this wasn't too messy. And I hope that you found this theory very, very interesting. Feel free to comment your theories below, and even add to this one if you'd like. Also, constructive criticism on the video/theory is appreciated, LOL.